You may have noticed living in Australia just how concentrated some of our industries are. From banking, supermarkets, airlines, mining, media, telecommunications, energy. It seems everywhere we shop, there are big corporations that dominate the market. While many of us have grown accustomed to this, the impacts of so called duopolies and oligopolies have sent clear shockwaves throughout the economy and political landscape. Today, we're going to discuss how Australian industries have gotten so concentrated, the impact of them in Australia, and how parties might mitigate the negative aspects of them. Concentrated industries, also known as monopolies, duopolies, and oligopolies, are individual and select group of companies that dominate the market share for a specific industry. These companies often use their position of market power to reduce competition and further financial and political interests. To establish and protect a position of market dominance, corporations often engage in a couple of practices that we've categorised to make this as easy to understand as possible. The first way is through what's called anti-competitive practices, with the goal of suppressing competition and entrenching dominance. Some examples include predatory pricing, refusals to supply, exclusive dealings, and so-called tying and bundling. Corporations can also influence the market by increasing what is known as the barrier to entry. This can involve several strategies, such as controlling essential resources like land, raw material, distribution channels, or infrastructure. They may also hoard patents to prevent competitors from developing alternative products, engage in regulatory capture by influencing laws and policies, or exploit economies of scale. By operating on a large scale, corporations can achieve lower unit costs that are often unattainable for smaller competitors, further solidifying their market dominance. Lastly, corporations can manipulate the market by engaging in mergers and acquisitions to consolidate further control. By doing this, almost certainly guarantees the position of big corporations, which in turn allows them to engage in exploitive practices. This means that everyone from consumers, suppliers, and other stakeholders of society are often negatively affected via things such as price gouging, unfair contract terms, and wage suppression. The end result of all of this is that concentrated industries can restrict output, raise prices, reduce consumer choice, and engage in anti-consumer behaviour to further shareholder and internal interests. As for why we got here, the left has generally argued that a decrease in regulations, weakening of antitrust laws, and an increase in market failure are to blame. On the other hand, the right has argued the increase of the barriers to entry and so-called red tape by overregulation stops new businesses competing. Before we go any further, it's probably worth mentioning that the economic right, comprising of more free trade, deregulation, and government intervention, often defends concentrated markets, claiming economies of scale, innovation, and market leadership as the drivers of consolidation of market power, and have highlighted the potential for lower consumer prices through economies of scale. On the contrary, the left opposes the formation of oligopolies due to their impacts on consumers, workers, and the overall competition, with more emphasis on wealth inequality and social justice than emerges as a result. Over the past couple of years, we've all likely experienced the impacts of concentrated industry, such as the Woolworths Coles duopoly, which had allegations of price gouging and exploiting customers both during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. However, it's been argued that the increase in import and operational costs played a key role in price increases, according to both companies. Another example could be the collapse of Rex Airlines into voluntary administration, which has some blame directed to Australia's airline duopoly between Qantas and Virgin, with allegations of them using predatory pricing, dropping airfare prices to wipe out competition, and banking parking bays to prevent Rex from operating. Both airlines and public policy experts have voiced contrary statements. They claim that in poor internal financial decisions, disputes with key shareholders, and all the way to alleged stolen aircraft are some of the many issues that led to the fall of Rex Airlines. As for some solutions regarding the abuse of market power and concentration of industries, Australia's largest parties, despite their ideological positions, are hesitant to push forward any drastic changes such as divestiture or heavier fines. This is partly due to how poorly Australia's economy is performing over the last couple of years, with major disruptions to Australia's major companies could severely worsen Australia's economy, which is still undergoing a high inflationary period with high interest rates. Divestiture and big company split-ups, as proposed by Nick McKim and the Greens, are unlikely to go ahead, and this comes down to the uncertainty of there being any buyers capable of purchasing or interested in obtaining some of Australia's big companies and assets. Although this is not strictly a problem about market power, we're currently seeing a similar problem in the US regarding the TikTok ban, and the trouble for the platform trying to find buyers. Lastly, as covered in our Australia's lobby group video, big corporations like Woolworths and Coles have made significant political donations to the major parties over the last few years. And any drastic policies, either by the opposition or incumbent Albanese government, is likely political suicide, as major companies can shift their donations to opposing parties and campaign against drastic actions against them. This has been observed in the super mining tax proposal in 2010 by Gina Rinehart, as well as by Clubs New South Wales in recent years regarding gambling reforms. Regardless of how you look at this, it's clear that concentrated industries in Australia are having a significant impact on our economy, and it's obvious that there is no clear and easy path to fix the issue. This is due to just how powerful some of these companies are and major disagreements between parties in how to solve the issue. Regardless, we'll be sure to keep an eye on this as the years progress, so we may revisit this topic if things arise. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed our content, consider subscribing and ringing the bell so you can keep in the loop with all the latest news from Australia and around the world. We're also pleased to announce we're going to be releasing our 5th edition of the Snapshots newsletter this upcoming Friday at 3 p.m. This covers all the big news in January from the world, Australia, and other news. You can access it in the link provided down below when it's released. Lastly, I'd like to thank our regular supporters and the team for making this video possible. Your support is crucial, and if you'd like to help, consider buying us a coffee, our merchandise, or purchasing a premium membership. Your support would be crucial, especially as we have an upcoming project covering the 2025 Australian federal election. It's going to be a very expensive investment trying to get the right amount of equipment, venue hire, and hosts on our show, so any support that you can contribute to us would be much appreciated. Once again, I'm Heath Clark. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.